Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're just allowing a couple of more minutes to allow more participants to join. Thanks.
Hello, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes. Hi, Sonia. Thank you for joining. We are just waiting a couple of more minutes to allow more participants to join, and then we'll start. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I think we should start in the interest of time. I know the more participants are joining, but I really would like to welcome all of you to this session of a side event of the UN 2.0 week. We are very excited to be here with you for a dynamic session that, as you know, is titled Next Gen Migration Solution, Youth Data and Anticipatory Action. My name is Laura Amadori. I'm the head of the Innovation and Knowledge Management team in IOM headquarters, which is under the Department of Data Insights and Policy. And I'm here with an incredible lineup of speakers and experts, from youth experts, but also our experts from IOM across different regions and country offices. So we are hoping to have a very dynamic discussion with the participation of all of you. But before we start, I just wanted to share with you a very brief introduction. You know that today's discussion is actually taking place in the context of a rapidly evolving and increasingly complex global landscape. Over 120 million people are forcibly displaced due to conflict, climate change, political and economic instability, and these figures, unfortunately, are continually rising. So the growing scale, frequency, and complexities of crises are pushing the limits of our humanitarian and migration management system, and they're really calling us for new way of working and thinking. We know that business as usual is no longer enough. We have to rethink our approach, and innovation lies at the heart of this transformation and of this shift. Because we know that innovation is not only about technologies or tools, but it's about shifting mindset, allowing new type of collaboration, new actors to be heard and at the table of taking decision, but also transforming system. At IOM, innovation is also grounded in migrants and community-centered designs, and this means that we need to ensure that their voices, their needs, but also their aspiration shape every stage of the innovation process. And we will see this in the different project and pilot that we were presented today. Today we focus on anticipatory action, and this also represents a shift from reacting to crisis to proactively addressing risk before displacement occurs. And young people are central to this shift. They bring creativity, energy, but also, most importantly, a unique perspective and understanding of their communities. Youth-led and community-led solutions are playing a critical role in building resilience and preparedness in vulnerable settings. So engaging youth means recognizing them not only as beneficiaries, but as innovators, as change makers, and leaders in migration management. All the different pilots you will see today, and especially the one that will be presented by the IOM team, are aligned with the IOM strategic plan, but also with the vision of the UN 2.0 quintet change. And with this, we are integrating data, digital tools, but also behavioral science, system thinking to enhance our preparedness capacities. Early warning system, community risk mapping, and participatory foresight are already enabling these anticipatory responses in places like Libya and Tanzania, as you will see from the pilot today. It is extremely important to understand that anticipatory action is not only about preventing displacement, but is also ensuring protection and dignity, agency, and hopes for migrants and communities. And with that, I think we can start with our speakers. Let me just present them to you before we go ahead with our presentations. Let me share my screen just very quickly. Oops, sorry. Okay, I hope you can see the full screen now. And here they are the different speakers that we will be sharing with us their different experiences. We have Karin Mwabakitalu, the founder of Nota Kahab, Tabata Fioretto, our crisis specialist from IOM Libya, Laura Smith, my monitoring and evaluation specialist from IOM regional office in Nairobi, Sonia Umulingwa, which is the founder of Plastic Craft Ltd. If it's fine for you, here is our agenda. So if it's fine for you, we'll first go through the different presentation and then we open up for question and answer. But before starting with our first speaker, and we already talked a little bit about the why of innovation for IOM, we wanted also to present a little bit to you what are the type of innovation that we support in IOM and our system thinking approach and why this is relevant to anticipatory action. So we already said we operate in a very complex context, but also innovation is a great amplifier of impact and of result. We know, for example, that when migrants move from the poorest country to developed country, there is a 16-fold reduction in child mortality. And we also know that the migrants contributed in 2024 to 669 billions in terms of the remittances to developing countries. So this is why innovation is extremely important, not only to solve important and complex challenges, but also to amplify solutions. The innovation approach in IOM is very much grounded in the IOM strategic plan 2024-2028, and it's a critical enabler for success and for accelerating results of the strategic plan, but it's also critically aligned to the UN 2.0 vision of a rejuvenated UN system where innovation, but also data, behavioral science, foresight need to be very much centered to the way that we operate. In IOM, the innovation approach is very much linked to a system thinking approach. So innovation is an incredibly important force for change. And this is because we know that migration is shaped by interconnected drivers that cannot be just addressed in isolation. So it's important to bring about this shift in the way that we operate. And as we said before, an important feature of migration or innovation in IOM is to be very much centered and driven by migrants. And this is why also today we have some of our speakers talking about their trajectories in terms of innovators and how in certain cases IOM was supporting them or they were part of different other transformative initiative. One of the characteristics of innovation is also to be very much network. It's very important to apply the system thinking approach in innovation, encouraging cross-sectorial collaboration, linking humanitarian development, peace building, and climate action, so that innovation can accelerate convergence across different sectors. As we said, innovation is also by definition transformative because it really supports a shift in terms of the system in which we operate. And there is also this component of being very much future looking. So IOM is really much looking at approaches that are address proactive measure. And as we're going to see today, this is at the core of the anticipatory action of the pilot that will be presented. In terms of how innovation is defined in IOM, there are some criteria that we have come up with, and one of the elements certainly is novelty. So we're looking at innovation. There's a high level of innovation. It's not just about replicating similar approaching, but new and original approaches are welcome when we talk about innovation or when we pilot innovative approaches. I just wanted to also highlight the scalability and transformation component that we already touched upon. And when we talk about scalability, scaling is not only about growth, but it's also about building models that incentivize a long-term and collaborative impact. So this is the type of scalability that we are looking at. And of course, we are looking at sustainability. That's why the youth-centered approach is so important in the different pilots that you will see today. And with this very short introduction, I'm very glad to share, to invite our first speaker, Karine Mwakitalo, the founder of Notaka Tanzania, to present her pilot. Karine is a Tanzanian climate innovator and advocate, who is also the winner of the 2024 Migration Innovation Awards that was also organized in partnership with the Migration Youth and Children platforms. Karine runs a mobile eco hub named Notaka Tanzania that works to spearhead sustainable data through geospatial technology for migrants and refugees community in Tanzania. So welcome, Karine. It's great to have you with us. And with this, I'll pass it over to you. And I understand I will stop sharing because I think you'll share your screen yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today and being part of the speakers of this really needed discussion today. I won't add so much from the introduction that Laura already shared. But I would just love to add that we work in grassroots levels in Tanzania, just focusing on the intersection between climate, migration, and also how that spans through the whole concept of adaptation. And we have a specific target group. So we work with refugees, migrants, and some of the most vulnerable communities to the climate challenge in the communities that we work with. And with that, please let me share my screen. Mm. Please let me know if you can see the presentation yet.
Yeah, it's coming now. Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So this is us. We are in Notaka, Tanzania, and we're using emerging technologies such as geospatial data and AI to map out land cover features, but also demographic qualities for migrants and refugee communities in the Eastern Horn of Africa. And we have started in my own home country, Tanzania, where we're piloting a geospatial data project for refugees that are in the refugee camp area in the Nyarugusu campsite. And with this particular project, we are principally aiming to inform food security, but also see how we can strengthen the data collection tool that we have to be able to monitor but also understand migration flows, and therefore be able to help governments but also development stakeholders to make decisions when it comes to climate change as a challenge. So we're looking at almost 370,000 people who are on the move but also subjected to move in this area. And half of these people are fleeing conflict and war from nearby countries like the Rwanda, the DR Congo, and Burundi, and the rest are forced to host these people that are also in dire situations. So many challenges come about with that situation because the environment now needs to hem in the needs of all these people. But the big question to us was, is the government ready to do this? So we started with first inflicting a feasibility study to better understand the scope of the challenge, but also the communities that we work with. And we came to realize data can change a lot of things, especially when you actually interact with the information that you maybe before we're presuming or assuming. So some of the sensitive data sets that we got on our feasibility study was the fact that these people could access different innovative ways, to like help or be part of the livelihoods or economic process as a whole. For instance, as you can see on your screen, we have people who could access smartphones and cell phones who are part of this migrant population, which to us translated to a lot of things. It meant that the youth population in this particular group and category could be able to be introduced to income generating activities, and for them to be able to help the community that is hosting them, but also uh, their own community. So this feasibility study really opened up our eyes to different ways where we could engage this group into adaptation planning and strategies, but also make their life so much better. So the challenges just going on. The challenges include the civil unrest that these people have been facing in their own home countries, but also the climate-induced food insecurity. So this area that is hosting these people, both host and migrant communities, has been facing a prolonged dry spell of almost 4 years now, and this has pushed this area to undergo food insecurity challenges, and therefore sustainable agricultural practices was the first thing that we thought best as a solution for this particular area. And this is a bit brief about us. You could scan that QR code and it will take us to our website to read more about the feasibility study, but also other documents that we have on this particular project. But you could also just type www.notaka.org and you can find all the information that you need. So our theory of change is based on data. So data gap is the most core thing that we're trying to tackle in the areas that we're working with. So we collect data on demographics and land futures, and then we come to marry it in with field data where we get to understand the actual stories of the people who are facing the climate challenge, so migrants and refugees. And then now we analyze this data into actionable insights, but also activities. But also, if you want to advise government and other development actors, then we take it from there. So after collecting this data, we engage in now adaptation solutions. So we have land distribution and use from the maps that we have done and collected from the GIS tool that we have, but also agricultural development. So working with local government authorities to actually define but also understand areas that could work best to help these people engage in sustainable agriculture, but also devise ways on how they can better do that. So one of the things that we are working on is establishment of soil testing centers so that these people can better engage in agricultural practices. So that's the link to our portal, and I would share this presentation when we are done. So please, don't worry, you will get to access the portal and learn more. So this is just a scan through of our portal. We have a live GIS tool that shows us areas that are highly impacted. So you can see the red. The red is some of the areas that are really impacted. But you could also click and interact with the data that we have. So we have different parameters that we've used to curate this particular tool. So we're looking at things like loss of soil carbon. We're looking at things like the rate of land degradation, etc. When you go through the tool, there's a lot that you can see in the tool. But this is also an extension of the live interaction with the maps that you have. And down on the left side, you could see some of the maps that we have, the interactive maps with according to a particular parameter that we were mapping out and analyzing. Now we're working on expanding our solution. As mentioned by Laura, last year we won the Migration Innovation Award during the GFMD process in Geneva, and that particular award has helped us to better our tools. So back then we only had the GIS data portal, but now we have a new AI data collection tool which is primarily focused on migration. So we're working on a really large scale of things, and we are quite a young organization. So we wanted a tool that would help us collect data fast but also analyze it fast. So first, we started with the data collection process, and we put up this AI Kobo toolbox to help us do that. So that particular fund helped us to put up this tool, and also it made the whole data collection process easier, because instead of our previous method where we're going to the field and talking to in a team of 5-10 people and talking to like 5 to 7 maximum people per day, each among us, now we can do up to 50 100 per person, because the tool is a direct. I'm so sorry guys, that's my daughter, she's making noise. Just give me 1 second. uh yes. Sorry, could you do you still see my screen?
Yes, we can still see your skin. And also, Karin, sorry, I just have to tell you that we are also going toward the conclusion maybe of your presentation
Okay,
to allow the other speaker.
sure,
Thank you. And it's
sure.
nice to hear your baby.
Thanks. So this tool is helping us collect more people, because all we have to do is just speak to them, and it directly transcribes the conversation and interprets it also. So that made it so easier for us. And the next thing that we're working towards now is now making this tool a public tool, an open tool access. So we're trying to work with IM country office, but also the UNHCR and also the government, to see how we could better inflict this tool into public spaces, so that people can access it. So that's a brief about our project. When I share the presentation, you can get all this information of our beneficiaries, but also we have also published a full report on this particular project. If you go on our website, you'd find it, but also I can also share it with you when you ask, if you ask for it, and that's my information. Please do feel free to reach out at any time, and I am so glad to be in this space and to be able to share our solution. It really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karine, for this very inspiring experience and tool. And it's very encouraging to see that you are really translating data into actionable insights, supporting governments, but also liaising with different agencies. This is very important to embed the tool in the way that we work in IOM, but also you mentioned UNHCR. I'm sure there will be questions for you in the end. But in the interest so stay with us. But in the interest of time, I wanted to pass it over to our next speaker, which is Tabata Fioretto from IOM Libya. Tabata is an emergency specialist with more than 13 years of experience, and she's currently serving in IOM Libya, focusing on climate change adaptation, displacement, and anticipatory action. And Tabata will talk to us about anticipatory action mechanism, a policy-driven preparedness for driving anticipatory action on climate resilience through data and community-led innovation in Libya. I will share the screen to facilitate the presentation, and then over to you, Tabata. Just one second.
Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you all, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. I'm very glad to be part of the presenter for this event. And yeah, today I'm going to discuss, as Laura mentioned, introduce our pilot project that we would like to implement in Libya, as we really believe that is not only innovative, but can actually bring a positive contribution to the country in line with the global targets for the Sendai framework. Just to make sure that my voice will flow smoothly, allow me to switch off the camera because my internet is not the best at this moment. Apologies for this. As Laura mentioned in the introduction, also Libya is experiencing increasing and numerous extreme weather events, particularly flash floods, heat waves, and forest fires as well. Through a number of studies and assessment, it's clear the correlation on how these events due to climate change affect the Libyan community, with the vulnerable population being the most affected. To bring just a couple of examples. Storm Daniel struck eastern Libya in 2023, bringing torrential rain and severe flooding. The heavy rainfall led to the collapse of 2 dams, triggering a massive flooding and devastating consequences, with over 4,300 deaths and still 8,500 people missing. The storm caused damage to obviously lots of infrastructure, like roads, bridges, and other, including hospitals and telecommunication networks. As a result, thousands of people were displaced in the immediate aftermath of the disaster. In the southern part of Libya, instead, like Seba, Al-Kufra, Gat, to mention a few, flash flood during 23 and 24 resulted in displacement of over 46,000 individuals. But again, particularly southern Libya is experiencing unusually hot condition, leading to heat waves during the spring and summer months. Now, this extreme temperature driven by climate change affect, again, the most vulnerable, as well as migration routes, increasing the risk of heat exposure for migrants. So now, for this pilot project, that is why we selected those 2 areas. Next one, please. Now, why this project is relevant for this week event? Karine also mentioned before that we usually have a data gap. So now, data, we're going to collect environmental data, real time on temperature, humidity, air pressures, rainfall, and so on, microclimate awareness. Unlike national weather forecasts, this project provides local data specific to the selected area, and the historical trends as well. So over time, the data can be logged and analyzed to detect local climate patterns and seasonal changes and anomalies. Digital technology, connectivity. Weather station, we're going to install weather station that transmit data through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth with the synchronization with apps or cloud platforms. Dashboard and apps, as user through that can monitor via mobile apps with visual dashboards, alerts, and forecast. Smart home integration, this in a later stage, those apparatus can be linked to system like smart irrigation systems or other types. Innovation, compact and affordable. Why? Weather stations are small, making them cheaper and more accessible. Crowdsourcing, online platforms and application allow data sharing, enhancing forecasting accuracy. AI and predictive modeling. The idea will be to study a way to use AI and provide local forecasts, learning from both sensor data and historical patterns. Behavioral science, nudge, like apps can provide gentle reminders like rain is expected, and take your umbrella, for instance, or gamification. So users might receive badge for good action that maybe they do, like environmentally friendly. Decision support. So by seeing real time air quality or heat level, people change their behaviors, like reducing outdoor activities if weather is too hot, for instance. Next slide, please. Now, to give you an overview of the project, the slide here represents the overview of the process, showing the main step of all the cycle. The first phase will entail community consultation to inform people of the selected area about the project and process, and this will be followed by the establishment of an anticipatory action committee. Subsequently, home weather station will be installed in several locations. Now, what we will do with this data that the weather station will gather. The data will be analyzed using the local partner application model supported by IOM's data center. The information will also allow to analyze current data with satellite imagery and produce a remote sensing analysis, zooming in for area possible most exposed and therefore most prone to disaster. Those combined analyses will allow to look objectively at hazard mapping based on geology and weather information. In addition, climate modeling will be strengthened through the use of AI, partnership with private sector and local organizations like Roya to improve forecasting and trigger accuracy. Now, parallel to this, the Anticipatory Action Committee will meet to define triggers and put in place SOP, standard operating procedure, in case of alert, and will work and think on early and anticipatory action that can be feasible and appropriate for the community. The anticipatory action will be based on alert levels, mild or serious, especially for sudden events like floods and storms. This action will be multi-sectorial, will mobilize human resources, alert population groups, prepare rescue teams, organize evacuation, emergency shelter, wash facilities, and so on, and contact support networks, for instance, for psychosocial support. While for slower onset hazards like droughts or heat waves, the Anticipatory Action Committee will also agree on early measures to reduce long-term impact. The output of the anticipatory action mechanism through the committee will be to validate a framework for anticipatory action. The process is designed to guarantee inclusivity by engaging marginalized groups in co-design, also equitable access and community-based participation, and ensure local ownership in the decision-making process. In addition, the project includes capacity building for communities and local CSO to improve hazards understanding and therefore preparedness. The community will be kept informed using social media as Facebook, Instagram or so, or downloading as well the weather app, which will be prepared specifically to be very user-friendly. Then in a later stage, IOM and partners will explore pre-arranged financing through localized platforms enabling private sector, diaspora, and community contribution. Next one. The preparation now, over the course of the past 24 months, a significant preparation were undertaken to collect in-depth primary data to plan for this project. In 2023, just to mention a few, IOM Libya collaborated with thematic experts in the MENA region and prepare a country report on migration, environment, and climate change that later on you will be able to access online. There was as well the same year the aftershock assessment. This study is based now on data collected through interviews with over 3,400 migrants, and it shows how climate change acts as a threat multiplier, exacerbating the vulnerabilities of migrants in their countries of origin and in Libya as well. Throughout 2024, IOM Libya carried out vulnerability and capacity assessment in addition to hazards and risk identification to better understand the effects of climate change, a level of emergency and preparedness in different municipalities. The recent work that was carried out this year in 2025 is about climate change, food security, and migration, combining both quantitative and qualitative data, again interviewing with direct interview of migrants and focus group discussion across 6 areas in Libya. Excuse me. Next one. The research findings now 56%, as you can see from the slide, of migrants estimated that climate shocks that they experience had a very severe impact on their well-being, such as their food consumption and income level. 25% of migrants had experienced climate shock in the year prior migrating to Libya. 50% of agricultural workers reported needing to increase fertilizer or input use to maintain productivity due to land degradation. 92% of migrants also use critical coping strategies like utilize saving, incur in debts, and eat less. The next one, the core concept. Now, I have already mentioned the main step of the project, but those are now the core concept for us. The enhancing capacities. Now, enhancing capacity at local level being the drivers for early action, strengthening coordination mechanism for climate preparedness. And also ensuring that the mechanism is community-based, including community leaders, municipal officials, CSO, as well as marginalized groups. Integration, how? As an example, community-level meteorological insight into broader professional forecasting, integrating preparedness efforts, and enhancing public awareness and increasing access to reliable weather information. Also integrated multi-sectorial response to natural hazards. Another core concept is fostering partnership with other international organizations, with academia and private entities. And so these actors will bring advanced technological capabilities that can improve the accuracy of early warning system and trigger mechanism. Also, this will strengthen data accuracy and help national authorities integrate community-level meteorological insight into broader forecasting and preparedness efforts, thereby enhancing public access to reliable weather information. Now, instead, the long-term goals in the next one, please. what are the long-term goals of the project. Being a pilot, the project wants to put a base to be scalable, replicable in other location, but also again wants to ensure community ownership and integrated responses to natural hazards, as already I mentioned before, and strengthening community resilience. So the third goal to ensure that together the activities surrounding the mechanism foster community resilience in the long term. The sustainability, next one. The localized decision making, equitable access, and capacity building foster ownership and sustainability. Now, while the first phase of the project will focus more on setting up the system and ensure capacity building, the second phase will explore more the pre-arranged financing, as I was mentioning earlier. IOM and partners then will examine the feasibility of a localized funding platform to enable private sector contribution, diaspora donation, and community fundraising, providing flexible anticipatory resources that complement donor and national funding streams. I think with that, I come to the end of the presentation. Sorry, I was a bit fast, but I know that the time that I was that was that I had was very short. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Tabata, for such an informative presentation. Yes, indeed, there's a lot to digest, but we retain, I mean, the co-design, the local ownership approach, which is very much similar to what also Karin presented on their example from Notaka as well, but also the partnership approach with academia and the long-term integration with the local structure, local authority. I think it is a very important aspect of the pilot that you are implementing in Libya. And I'm sure there will be also a question for you in the end. But in the interest of time, I would like now to I would like now to introduce our two final speakers. So I'll introduce both of you because Laura Smith and Sonia Umulinga will present one after the other. And I'm very grateful for them to be with us today. So Laura Smith is a monitoring and evaluation expert in the regional office of Nairobi. And she currently serves as program officer for IOM's Better Regional Migration Management Program. She will present the Youth Business Incubator, which empowers youth and return migrants with entrepreneurial skills. And then we will have a live example of one of these youth entrepreneurs, which is Sonia Umulingwa, which is a Rwandan environmental activist and founder and CEO of Plastic Craft Ltd, a pioneering social enterprise transforming plastic waste into eco-friendly and crafted decor and artwork. Thank you so much to both of you for being with us, and over to you, Laura, to introduce you to the Youth Business Incubator.
Thank you so much, Laura. And can we go to the next slide, please? So I'm going to expand the theme a bit towards youth and innovation, and I'm really happy and excited to be here today to share an ongoing initiative that is empowering youth to both realize and expand their ideas. So we as humanitarian and development practitioners know that the ideas and talent to solve the world's most pressing issues are equally distributed, but that access to opportunities to realize those ideas is not. What happens when youth are provided with support to implement their ideas is nothing short of amazing and brilliant. And in this vein, recently IOM developed, tested, and further expanded a youth business incubator aimed at providing entrepreneurship and business development skills to both youth and returning migrants who also happen to be youth. This approach has a twofold reaction. The first is to enable youth to become job creators and minimize the exodus of skilled talent to other countries. And the second is enable youth to employ back home the skills that they have acquired while abroad. Could you go to the next slide, please? The Youth Business Incubator is a training package, as well as access to mentorship and startup capital for qualifying business pitches ideas. Over the past year, IOM in the Eastern Horn of Africa have trained over 320 young people and helped with business development or expansion of 80 businesses across 8 countries. And we have no signs of stopping. The businesses established are varied, some which speak directly to climate resilience, including sustainable animal feed production, motor rewinding and rewiring, as well as initiatives focused around sustainable agriculture. Key is the initiative's flexibility. Each country in the region and their priorities are so different, and so a one-size-fits-all model can stifle innovation rather than build. As such, each implementing country has tailored this intervention to fit their needs and thematic interests while maintaining core elements such as youth-focused, a competitive selection for awarding, and a mandatory minimum 5-day of training. In Rwanda, for example, the IOM office chose to focus on 2 particular elements. One, which was to provide an opportunity for youth returning from education or internships abroad to apply their skills acquired back home, and 2, business ideas related to hospitality and or agriculture with a keen focus on environmentalism. Sonia is one of our winners of the YBI competition who drives an innovative solution in the circular economy and green technology space. So I pass the floor to her to share her business, the inspiration, and how IOM's Youth Business Incubator helped deepen her impact in her business and as a result, her community. Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Laura. Good day, everyone. It's an honor to be speaking here at the UN 2.0 week. As they said, my name is Sonia Omudinga. I am from Rwanda. I am one of the awardees of Youth Business Incubator 2024, and I have an education background in environmental planning and innovation and entrepreneurship. I founded Plastic Craft right directly after my undergraduate studies, and I want to give you a brief background uh, onto the next slide. Yeah, so I grew up in a suburb region of Kigali that is called Kagugusel, which is the most densely populated region in Rwanda, and which means densely populated region for least developed countries or developing countries such as Rwanda means also all sort of social, economic, and environmental issues. That is to say, in Kagugu cell, that's where you will find the highest rate of poor solid waste management. That's where you will find high rates of children in malnutrition, high rates of rates of let's just say unemployment in youth and women from marginalized communities. But aside from that, in that suburb region where I grew up, you see it's a region that was made by multiple wetlands. So over time, I have watched with a deep concern the increasing accumulation of plastic waste choking these wetlands, as well as within the community. This is not just an environmental problem, it's a social challenge causing public health concern among the people. Aside from that, most people here in the suburb regions, they highly depend on agriculture. So plastic pollution, majorly microplastics, contaminate soil and water sources. And this impacts mostly their livelihoods and food. This contamination reduces crop yields, soil fertility, and impacts food security. thereby diminishing agricultural productivity, which drives migration patterns across borders and across different regions. So this not additionally also it is when talking about data, it is estimated that Rwanda may now generate about 75,000 to 100,000 tons per year of plastic waste with a recycling capacity of only 2% according to the World Bank. So, looking at this 2% of the recycling capacity, where do we think the rest of this plastic waste goes? Rwanda has significantly made a step in banning single-use plastic bags as it's known, and it has highly positioned itself as a country of green growth. However, we remain with the problem of single-use plastic bottles. Only a small percentage is recycled, while a bigger percentage is left scattered in our communities. It ends up in the landfill, thereby accumulating greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and also destroying marine and terrestrial ecosystems. Please, the next slide. So me being the environmental activist and also growing up with the desire of being an entrepreneur, I established Plastic Craft. As simple as the name says, repurpose plastic waste into craft. Our enterprise mainly specializes in sustainable recycling and craftsmanship. We collect plastic waste from local communities in Kigali and the suburb regions, and we repurpose these plastic waste into crafts that are used specifically for space, design, home functionality, and these crafts mainly showcase random cultural heritage. At the heart of our mission, we empower women to be agents of change. These women are an integral part to the waste collection, sorting, and recycling ecosystem. Women make 75% of the informal waste management sector in Rwanda. So Plastic Craft empowers these women in the informal waste sector by dignifying their work and making them agents of change in climate action and also empowering them to have sustainable livelihood through income generating activities. Next slide, please. Uh, while I returned back from my master's abroad, where I did innovation and entrepreneurship, I really observed multiple things in Europe that inspired me. While we started, we were struggling with increasing our production capacity and also improving our efficiency and getting the opportunity to go to study abroad, I was able to observe different things. I was able to get new insights on how I can transform my business. When I came back, I was stuck, just like any entrepreneur. That was like a distraction. Now, being able to bounce back from the academic field to the business field was really tough. So once upon a time, I was sitting at home on the internet. Then I came across the call for application of youth business incubator by the IOM Rwanda, and I applied. I was shortlisted among the first people to be interviewed. I went through a series of other selection processes. After we were selected, we got also an opportunity to have a 1 week boot camp where we were equipped with technical skills that help us to elevate our businesses. were different entrepreneurs from different levels. Some are in the ideation, others already in the prototyping phase. Throughout this boot camp, I was able to redefine and redirect my business, which helped me now to concentrate our production line on tourism. As they say, this incubator program for us in Rwanda mainly focused on agriculture and tourism. Before our product, it was more of general, but now going through this incubator program, I was able to draft my business plan and I was able to come up with a new line of production since Rwanda's tourism is a thriving sector and also Rwanda has positioned itself as a green growth country. It made me realize how now bringing on the market eco-friendly products that also reflect Rwanda's cultural heritage to the world, what the tourism take back to their countries, but which also appears to eco-friendly consumers. So that's what I was able to do. And aside from the technical assistance, IOM Rwanda was also funded us with grants that helped us now into expanding uh, and pivoting our business. Now it has helped us to improve our efficiency, but also increase our production capacity. So far, also it has helped us to diversify our products, thereby uh, also creating the green job uh, for different women. We're able now to hire other additional women. This has also this has also contributed to circular economy acceleration for our operations. Having women, a network of women that are involved in plastic collection and recycling, it helps us to foster an end-to-end waste management, thereby closing the loop of of plastic waste and reducing carbon emission, which contributes to climate mitigation. Aside from that, through our enterprise or social enterprise, we have a community development program that equips these women and youth from underserved communities with green skills that prepares them for their entry in the green jobs market. So this, all in all, it contributes to a sustainable livelihood for these marginalized women and young people. So thank you. I'll be happy to answer any additional questions. And I'm happy to network and connect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura and Sonia, for this very inspiring presentation. It's quite impressive already what the Youth Incubator was able to achieve, and also your own experience, Sonia, in really turning a big issue of plastic into an opportunity, into a circularity model. So now I know we are a little bit late with our schedule, but I will still like to open for Q&A. I don't know if there is any question in the chat. Maybe we can allow a couple of questions. Or you can also raise your hand and we can unmute you if you want to intervene and ask any question to the panel. But if there is no immediate question, I did have a question for Karine, maybe to start, because you talked about a feedback mechanism with communities, and the way you collected data will be optimized with AI. And I was wondering if the communities are already using the tool. I understand the tool is informing local government officials, and there is also a capacity development component. But I was wondering what type of feedbacks do you receive from the community from your tool? If you can explain us a little bit more, Karine. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So now we are at a stage where we're trying to work with the government to make the tool public. We have tried internally to bring in a few of the beneficiaries that we work in. So we started with two groups, farmers but also fishers, so women fishers. Um, so see how they could use this tool into their livelihood practices, and we have done three consultations on that particularly, and then trying out the tool. And I would say, so there was a lot that we did not know before the actual user tried to use it, but I think after them trying to use the tool, we then figured out a lot. So we had feedback such as the language barrier. So the Swahili language is really limited in root words. So there's a lot technical, jargons that are not found in the Swahili language that are in English with the tools that we work with and everything. So now we've had to use the consultations to like work on things like that. So find ways to better communicate some of the features of the tools to these people so that they understand, even also maybe going a little bit far from the technical information or ways that these features were called to like more contextual ways that these people can understand better. So I think language has been one of the feedback that's it's a barrier. um, but also they really needed the tool to like reflect their social cultural context, so the actual on the ground issues that they have. So we've had issues like uh, like the beliefs of these communities integrated, like the natural ways of how, for instance, they are fishing, you know. So sort of indigenous information, wanting it to be integrated to the tool, but also the whole data collection process. So those would be two of some of the feedbacks that we have received, trying to bring them in to try out the tool and use it. Yes.
Thank you, Karine. I see one of our participants, Moya Munyaradzi, that has a hands up. Maybe, I don't know if we can unmute him.
Yeah, it should be
Yes,
possible now. Yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you so much to all the presenters, and well done. So my name is Munya. I'm the enterprise architect within the ICT team within IOM. So my question is for Karen. So I'm wondering how you are dealing with the challenges of information dissemination, given that we don't have so much penetration of smartphones. I don't know if your technology or you have also considered making use of USSD so that people can do inquiries as well as maybe get response through USSD, because I know the penetration of smartphones is not at its best. How are you dealing with information dissemination? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Definitely, it's a challenge, and we have considered the use of USSD. The areas that we work in, um, smartphones are a bit of a challenge, but also connectivity as a whole is a bit of a challenge. So at first, we tried to work with local internet providers. but also mobile networks providers. And we're still in conversation with them, but then in the meantime, because this might be a little bit of a process with all the bureaucracies that are integrated in the process, working in camps, and there's like a lot a lot of process to just work within the area. So we thought in the meantime we could try a cluster form of an information flow system, whereby we have clusters and like cluster leaders in the communities that we work in. And then so we find that there are, even though there are no smartphones as a whole, but there are like a few smartphones in the area, so we utilize those through like WhatsApp groups. So a cluster WhatsApp group can have a few of the representatives of the group with their leader, but also the local government authority and leader, the environmental officer of the area, but also the regional environmental officer of the area. So it goes like that up to now we're trying to get like the minister, the commissioner to be in the group, so that if there is information from grassroots, it could get to the top, but also top down approach is also feasible. So that is what we're doing. And if there is a case where we are wanting to like disseminate information, then we can get to the cluster leader, and then they could distribute the information to like the groups that we work with. In the meantime, while we are working to integrate other alternative ways such as USSD, etc. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you very much for that. Maybe it's time that you can also start investigating the small drones for purposes of information dissemination. Just an idea. Good luck.
Thank you so much. We've actually thought about drones, but then now the policy landscape and like the regulatory landscape in the country is a bit of, you know, hard to break through. But yeah, thank you so much, and we will continue to push on that angle also. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, colleagues. I know this is a very engaging discussion and we would like to continue, but in the interest of time, we actually have to close. I see that also colleagues have posted in the chat more information about their project initiatives so that you can have more insight. I also posted a call for application for accelerating youth-led action in addressing climate mobility in Africa. This is for ideas of youth from 18 to 35 years old, and the deadline is 15th of June. So please have a look to that as well. And I really wanted to thank all of you for participating to this very dynamic session, and to all the presenters for the incredibly insights initiative and pilot they presented. Is what I retain in terms of learning is that, first of all, data, we need to better integrate data. There is a data gap. It is extremely important to integrate this data in our anticipatory action and preparedness. Co-design is key, and local ownership of these different solutions. I also see some linkages between, for example, the solution of Notaka Hub and the anticipatory action mechanism in Libya. So I hope there will be more learning and cross-fertilization of idea between the two. The youth business incubator is a great model because it's very flexible, and we need to have this mechanism to support entrepreneurship for African youth and beyond. So this is something that as IOM and partner, we should look at replicating going forward. And it's very encouraging to see example like our young entrepreneur, Sonia, transforming a big issue of plastic into a circular economy opportunity, creating business and creating greening job for the communities where she lives. So in the spirit of the UN 2.0, the call on all of us to actually work in an interconnected way, I hope this is just the beginning of a conversation and learning between these different and more experience. But also today's conversation showed us that what is possible through these initiatives and pilot, but also how urgent it is to act now. So I hope, again, this is just the beginning of a different learning, and I'm also grateful for this platform that the UN 2.0 has given us. So with that, thank you all, and we will continue sharing insight. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.